Okay, so I wanted to do this video basically in kind of response to I'm Nobody Jane. I've done some videos on her before. And I want to do this video specifically. She was talking about some black man who he seemed like he has some personal issues. Like, I think he felt like he went on talking about how he felt like he was inferiorized by white men or something in history, or that he was in the past. It was a weird thing, and he had this weird inherent hate for white men, and he basically wanted them not to exist. The ideology that he had, he was saying that he wanted miscegenation basically in the white race in order to get rid of white people, specifically white men. And I kind of felt like, I felt like personally from what she was talking about, like, does anyone want to pay attention to the fact that there's an innate problem with him, right? Other than, his aim and anger at white people or whatever and wanting them not to exist. I think his anger more so had to do with an internal anger with himself. And the reason I think that is because I don't think anyone really actually did anything to him, because he had to talk about the history of black men being subjugated. But he is typing to her in current time, not from the past. So he's not dealing with anything right now. He's only just talking about what other people have dealt with in the past. So it doesn't seem like it's a personal issue on that. It feels to me like it's a smokescreen for what problems he feels within himself as a black man. I have the idea and thought that he might think that him being a black man is never going to be enough of a man. And white men remind him of how he is not good enough as a man. And so his antidote for his insecurity is to remove their existence, because it will help him keep him from thinking of what he should be and actually think of himself in a different light. And I think, why can't he think he's just good enough as a black man and not really think of the white race in total? That's more of what I think. And, I don't really think white people, white men, have really subjugated black men like that. I honestly think, like, if black men were so subjugated, how come they're always breaking barriers first? And I told her this specifically. Like, it never makes any sense to me when black men say, woe is me and all this shit. Because it's like, if you look at the history of white women and black men, you can see they've both been marginalized throughout their history. And white women, to me, it's an uncomfortable thing to me that I was trying to point out that, for example, you would think white people are reproduced through a man and a woman just like anyone else. And white families come from a white man and a white woman, right? So for every white man, there's a white mother and a white father. Yet, these people still were able to have different histories. Even though white men came from a white woman, produced white daughters, married white women, and yet still black men were given more rights throughout our history up until just yesterday. Basically, they were given more rights than white women in every regard. We still don't have a white female president. We still don't. We don't even have a white female vice president, and we have a black female vice president. It's just an idea. So, I mean, so many different things in life, like different positions, high level positions that seemingly black men always seem to get before white women, in my opinion. And it's like, from my perspective, it's weird in a sense because it's like black men have no connection to white men like white women do. I mean, like, they literally are connected hand in hand. You get what I'm saying? Like, to create one, you have to have the other, and so forth. You don't need that with black men and white men. Yet, I have thought, and I've always thought, that men in general relate to each other a lot more than within races. And the reason that is just a matter of, sexes are more in common than the same race, basically. And, the whole idea of black men being subjugated to me is a weird thing because it's like, well, okay, yes, in some ways, black men have been marginalized throughout history, but I don't think that they are today. I really don't. And I think, like, in most cases, they are given the benefit of the doubt. And I think, like I said, that's because of the relatable factor of they are a part of the sex that has always been in power. So, to me, I don't know, I just think that it was kind of weird that he was saying, like, that to overcome or whatever, white men holding him down or whatever, it's just like, to me, I don't see how white men are holding you down at this point. And that's why I feel like more a situation like that is just a person who wants to be a white man and they just think that it's better, even though they don't really have a reason for why it's better. They just have this innate feeling of inferiority, basically. Because of it, they basically end up hating what they really want to be, basically. And, there's a lot of that with black men. At times, you can see it that many of them do have a sense of insecurity and desire to be white men. And you can tell this because many of the time they have an underneath anger with this or anything related to this issue. And I think this is why some of them get so sensitive with people having some kind of affinity towards white men over them. Because they already feel inferior. Now, I'm not saying every black man, I'm just saying black men with that mentality, basically, where they have a desire to somehow try their hardest to overcome or be white men or whatever. Anyway, I kind of found his comment and everything really uncomfortable because it was just like, every issue is just go get therapy. Because, I mean, like, you only got one life, and that life isn't as a white man. So you've got to get used to it. And no matter how much anger or wishing or desiring them not to exist, they exist. So you should just move on at this point. So that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching, and bye.